Thank you, Can Corla. And first of all, I would ask that you would pass on my best wishes to the new Minister. Now, I think everyone agrees here today that the opening of our schools is perhaps the most important issue that's facing this country in the next few months. And it's really important that we get it right, not just that children go back to school, but that we can keep the schools open. Because education matters for everybody, but most of all for our most vulnerable children, for those who in some way or another have got detached from the system over the last 130 days. Now, it's a huge challenge, but of course just because something is a huge challenge doesn't mean that we won't do our best. And I know that teachers, boards of management, staff are absolutely determined to try to make this work. Now, the time frame is extremely tight, and while different schools will have different circumstances, different situations, regardless, I think huge requirements are being placed on the shoulders of principals, boards of management, teachers, SNAs, other staff, parents, etc. The amount of work and the attention to public health requirements, etc., is absolutely daunting. Now, I was listening to the Minister when she was speaking, and she spoke about logistics, curriculum, teaching, administration, well-being, enhanced cleaning and hygiene measures, control measures, keeping up to date with public health advice and ensuring the advice is passed on to staff, students, parents and others, induction training, redesigning classrooms and making necessary changes to school layout, updating health and safety risk assessments, including systems such as water, ventilation, rubbish collection services, actions to prevent introduction and spread of COVID-19 in schools. And that's just some of the list. And all of that has to be put in place in 4 weeks. It's an enormous ask, and I think anybody who doesn't recognise that is not being honest. Now, I read through the plan quickly, and I looked at the various appendices, and that includes the various risk assessments and checklists and tracing logs, etc., that will be required. And in 4 different appendices, 6, 7, 8 and 9, there was 131 different actions. Now, it's hugely detailed, and I suppose really what I want to emphasise, because I think a lot of the public will not be aware of this, is the huge requirements that this will place on schools. Look, it's great to see your plan. There is a significant contribution of resources, but I suppose my question is, have we any idea if the resources provided are sufficient, and how will these resources be distributed? The extra teachers that are needed, where are they going to come from? Have any of them been recruited? Is it possible to go through the process of recruiting teachers in that short space of time, alongside all of the preparatory work that needs to be done over the next 4 weeks? Now, one of the most important points made in the Sinn Féin motion is the absolute need to reduce class sizes in line with the EU average of 20:1. Class sizes matter significantly, and they hugely impact on children's learning. Individual attention makes such a difference. Ireland is way behind the curve, with 1 in 5 children in classes of 30+. Now, Minister, when it comes to being above the national average, Sligo and Leitrim don't often find themselves in the upper echelons, especially when it comes to being above the national average in terms of investment or resources, etc. But when it comes to class size, we're well up there, with Sligo at 22.1% and Leitrim at 21.4% of children in classes of 30+. Many schools in Sligo and Leitrim with such high class sizes will want to know, will they have the resources they need to open their schools safely? Will they be able to employ extra teachers? Because it cannot be that schools that already have high pupil-teacher ratios will be under even greater pressure to reopen and stay open safely. And finally, just like my colleague Deputy Pringle, I want to emphasise the need for proper provision of school transport. Or will parents spend all of August under ferocious pressure trying to ensure their children get to school? I know of people, and I'm sure you do as well, Minister, that buses have passed by in recent times standing at bus stops. I would like to know, and I'm sure we'd all like to know, that that's not going to happen to any of our students as they stand at bus stops waiting on school transport.